right? But human beings can give anything value that's outside of themselves, right? However, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders barely addresses money. This is interesting in a capitalist society. We haven't actually studied money disorder much, except in cases of financial deprivation. So we study when somebody loses money and then go depressed and become suicidal and all that stuff. There's more studies on that. It is not mentioned as a possible disorder. Nevertheless, recent research hints at the possibility of a psychology of money or even a psychopathology of money, with money accumulation potentially meeting the criteria of a behavioral addiction. This can become an addiction. Now, having read all of this to you, I want to just share with you also from the Islamic tradition and also biblical tradition what's been said about money. Like Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says in the Tirmidhi, "Inna likulli ummatin fitna." Every ummah, every nation will have a fitna. وَإِنَّ فِتْنَةَ أُمَّتِي الْمَالِ. And the fitna of my ummah is money. It's wealth. Woe to those who join house to house, who add field to field until there is no more room, and you are made to dwell alone in the midst of the land. Isaiah. Meaning people who become conglomerates and keep acquiring, right? He who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves wealth with his income. This also is vanity. This is Ecclesiastes. And then Jesus specifically says you cannot worship both God and money, which is similar to what the Quran is saying, and even in a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, "Ta'isa abdud dinar wa abdud dirham," right? The servant of the dinar and the servant of dirham, may they be destroyed. Now, having said all of that, the concluding discussion I want to have with you on this subject is as follows. Is the Quran then against building wealth, saving money, gathering wealth? Actually, the Quran is against having a small world, where gathering and collecting and hoarding is a goal in and of itself. But when you're gathering money for a purpose, when you're collecting for a purpose, that is actually very much in line with Islam. You have the story of Dhul Qarnayn. Allah says, فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. Allah gave him all kinds of resources, and he used those resources to pursue more resources. أَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. Why is he pursuing more resources? What's he going to do with these resources? Why is he expanding his empire? Why is he going to places where people don't even speak a language yet, or full-on language yet? Why is he going to uncharted territory where there's mud? Ainin Hami'a. Why is he going to muddy marshland? Right? Like what Orlando used to be before Disney moved there. How would anybody go there? Like to hang out with the gators? Like, what are you going there for? Why is he going east and west and all over He's expanding his empire, is he not? And Allah is saying wherever he went, he acquired more resources, and he used those resources to build more resources, and then more resources, and then more resources. But that wasn't his goal. What was his goal? Wherever he goes, he makes sure corruption is put to an end. He makes sure people are not going to get away with doing crime. أَمَّا مَنْ ظَلَمَ فَسَوْفَ نُعَذِّبُهُ. Or if he doesn't have the resources to fight the enemy, at least he will develop the resources to stop the enemy. So he'll build a wall. And if he realizes he's someplace where he can do no good, that's also possible, right? Sometimes you just can't help a situation. You know what? كَذَلِكَ وَقَدْ أَحَطْنَا بِمَا لَدَيْهِ خُبْرًا. I can't help the situation. He let them be. But he's constantly building. The Quran's picture of what we're supposed to do with wealth is to build more for a greater objective, for the benefit of humanity, for the bringing about of justice, for the bringing about of the end of corruption, the end of being looted and robbed and killed without purpose. إِنَّ يَأْجُوجَ وَمَأْجُوجَ مُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. That's the idea. It's the Christian, the Catholic idea was wealth itself is a curse. You're not supposed to earn wealth. And it's funny, it was a convenient idea, because wealth is not for you, it's for the king. Give to the church and give to the God-chosen king. Make them wealthy, not you. So it was a very convenient ideology because it served the church and it served the king, right? But we have, unfortunately, in Islamic discourse, we've developed this idea of a terrible fear of hubb ad-dunya. Right? Because if we find in the Quran, this dunya's worth, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا لَهْوٌ وَلَعِبٌ, right? Or you find a hadith where it's not worth the wing of a mosquito, right? Or even one Fajr Salah is better than the whole world and everything in it. And when you read all of this literature, what what thought starts building in your head? This world is nothing. This world is nothing. This world is nothing. And that becomes a this world is nothing disorder. Because on the other extreme is this world is everything disorder. And on the other extreme is what? This world is nothing. These are both disorders. If this world is nothing, why are you going around the Kaaba wearing the clothes that mimic your presence before Allah on Judgment Day or at the moment of your death? Why are you saying, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً? Why in the world are you going to Hajj, which is supposed to be the most spiritual experience of your life, and your Rabb is telling you, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ أَن تَبْتَغُوا فَضْلًا مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. There's no harm if you pursue some business opportunities when you go to Hajj. Why would that be the case? Because Allah wants us to make the most of this world for a higher purpose. Why is it that Allah says about the people of the book that came before us, لَوْ أَنَّهُمْ أَقَامُوا التَّوْرَاةَ وَالْإِنْجِيلَ لَأَكَلُوا مِنْ فَوْقِهِمْ وَمِنْ تَحْتِ أَرْجُلِهِمْ. Had they established Torah and Injil, they would have eaten from above and from below. From below there. In other words, rain would have been abundant, produce would have been abundant, the earth would have revealed its gold, its plutonium, its uranium, its natural resources, its lithium, its technologies. The earth would have given them copper and iron and steel and ore and all of its vegetation. They would have become resource rich if they established the book of Allah. Allah didn't say there, if they established the book of Allah, they established Torah and Injil, Allah would have given them Jannah because this world is just for you to suffer. He didn't say that. That's not our deen. That's not our deen at all. Well, we've developed this sick idea, and because of this sick idea, you get Muslim kids, Muslim youth that say, I just want to serve deen, I don't want anything to do with dunya. Stupid. Where did you get this idea from? No, because I don't want dunya, I just want deen. Okay. Hold on a second. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَعِدُّ لَكُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ, gather whatever power you can. Get whatever power you can, gather it. Right? Or مَرِّبَاتِ الْخَيْرِ. Just contemplate مَرِّبَاتِ الْخَيْرِ. I talked about it in a few khutbahs before. Gather the cavalry, build the horses. The army that has the cavalry has horses in it. How are you going to build horses without money? How are you going to buy one horse without money? Where are you going to get the money from? If the Sahaba are all, I don't want dunya, who's going to get the horse, bro? Who's going to get the horse? And by the way, for a horse, you need a stable. You need the ironsmith who's going to build the horseshoes. You're going to need the saddle maker, the horse trainer. You're going to need the fields where the horses can run, the hay that the horses can eat, the land that has to be bought for them. Isn't it a major investment? And Allah just said, just prepare it. Go, make it, prepare it. That means build an entire economy. Build an entire economic system. But it has a higher purpose. It's something bigger. Even the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam is misinterpreted so easily. That is, he forgot to pray Maghrib, and that's why he slaughtered the animals. That's the misinterpretation. First of all, why, and طَفِقَ مَسْحًا بِالسُّوقِ وَالْأَعْنَاقِ. And the misinterpretation is, he cut off their legs and its neck, which means he slaughtered an animal viciously. Right? Because that's torturing an animal. And Rasulullah ﷺ himself told us, لا تمثلوا نعمة الله. Do not make an example, do not mutilate delicate creatures of God, animals. We don't mutilate animals in this religion. It's evil. And we're okay attributing that to a prophet. And why? Because apparently he missed Maghrib. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. If you missed Maghrib and you started beating your kids, right? I missed Maghrib. I was working, You're working at a children's hospital, you're treating children, or you're dealing with the sick, and you were too busy in the surgery, and you got late for Maghrib, and you're like, you know what?
Only in America.